Hey, what's poppin', everybody? That's the girl right there. She's the baby mama. Hey, what is poppin', everybody? Finally, we have internet. We have internet. They've been installing it since 8 o'clock this morning. It is now like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Finally, we have internet. It was a long and prolonged process. It took about 4 hours to get it installed this morning. This apartment complex or condo complex that I live in doesn't have Ethernet cables, so he had to literally take out the cable for the cable and put in the Ethernet cord, slip that one into the same hole.
What do you mean by that?
And then he had to run a line all the way to like the main whatever, you know, I'm not a tech guy or whatever, but there's no fiber optics and stuff out here, so it makes it super complicated. Like I said, where I live, Wi-Fi, and really just communities in general still being built because I live in the middle of a bayou. So with that being said, let's recap yesterday though. All right, so let's get into this recap. Yesterday, our lock of the day, OG Anunoby crushes it. He gets 26 points again in Game 2. Giannis Antetokounmpo ended up snagging 18 rebounds, absolutely crushing his line. And there's Kyrie Irving. Mediocre 10 points. Kyrie Irving, let's put this into perspective for everybody. Kyrie Irving, on the regular season, I know he didn't play a whole bunch of games, but he's still a very efficient guard. His field goal percentage was 55%. His field goal percentage as a guard. Him and KD shot a combined 1 for 17 from the field yesterday in the second half. They quite literally, and this is not even kidding, they had their worst games both as a member of the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie and Kevin Durant yesterday. And of course, the day where I went for it with Kyrie Irving, he has his worst game as a Brooklyn Net. So we went 2 for 1 yesterday, crushing it with OG Anunoby and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and falling short on Kyrie Irving. Some people saw my 5 slip on Instagram yesterday too. Kyrie sold both of them because I went over on an Al Horford's points yesterday as well as under on Drew Holiday's points. Those 2 hit, so literally Kyrie Irving sold both my slips just by 1 yesterday, which is unfortunate, but let's get into it today. Real quick, if you guys are new to Underdog Fantasy, make sure that you there's a link down in the description I have that automatically takes you to the App Store where you can download Underdog Fantasy. Also throws in my Take My Shot code when you guys sign up for that. So when you make your first deposit, it helps me out big time, as well as it gives you a 100% deposit match up to $100. So if you throw in 20 bucks, for example, you'll get actually 40 bucks, and they'll give you another 20 free dollars just to bet on for funsies, a little risk-free bets for fun. And so that is always nice as well to get those risk-free bets. Also helps me out, like I said, big time if you guys use my code TAKEMYSHOT. Because all my picks every single day are always going to be Underdog Fantasy picks. I think it's the best player prop betting app out there. With that being said, now let's get to today's picks. All right, baby, coming off the lock of the day, let's get it. OG Anunoby crushes his line for us yesterday. They lowered him from 18.5 to 17.5. I'm assuming because the Gary Trent ended up playing, so they lowered him. He still ended up finishing with 26, obliterating his line. Today we're going to be taking a Utah Jazz player. He has been nothing but absolute buckets for them in this series. It's also been a competitive series between Dallas and the Jazz. Give me Spider Mitchell. Give me Donovan Mitchell, baby. Over 29.5 points today versus the Dallas Mavericks. Game 1, 32. Game 2, 34. Absolutely everything for this offense. Took 29 shots in Game 1 and took 30 shots in Game 2, taking all of the shots for this Utah Jazz offense. As long as he doesn't throw up an absolute brick show like Kyrie Irving, we should be able to hit that 30-point mark pretty easily. There is news just now that I just got that Luka is feeling pretty good, so it does look like Luka's probably going to play. And if Luka plays this game, I like that even more for Donovan, because when games get competitive, when Donovan Mitchell needs to absolutely get buckets, I mean, you saw what he's done in the past in his playoff experience. I mean, what he did with Jamal Murray, and him and Donovan Mitchell were going at it. Him and Luka are going to do the same thing. They're just going to absolutely go at it with each other offensively. So I'm loving Donovan Mitchell today. Over 29.5 as our lock of the day. Let's get it. All right, next up, same team. Give me Rudy Gobert. Here's the option for you guys. You can go under on his 13.5 points or over on his 15.5 rebounds. Game 1, 17 rebounds. Game 2, 17 rebounds. He's on the floor for 35 minutes in Game 1 and 37 minutes in Game 2. As long as he doesn't get in foul trouble, he's going to be on the floor for a very long time getting these rebounds. Really a struggle to find his offensive game. It's pretty crazy that his rebounds line is set higher than his points line, but it is Rudy Gobert at the end of the day. So it's going to be up to you guys if you want to go over on his 15.5 rebounds. I've been kind of, you know, avoiding it lately because it just feels like so much rebounds, but he gets them. He just ends up getting the rebounds. And the Mavericks just don't have anybody inside to hold Rudy Gobert off the glass. So I'm going to go with it. I'm going to trust it today, as well as under on his points. Like I said, that's going to be up to you guys whether you want to go under on points or over on rebounds, because his points have gone as 8 and 5 in the last 2 matchups versus this Mavericks team. Donovan Mitchell is just, when he's taking 30 shots a game, that's a lot of shots in an NBA game, taking away from a lot of other guys. So That includes Rudy Gobert, so I'm liking Rudy Gobert over 15.5 rebounds. Let's get it. Next up, give me the Poole show. Give me Jordan Poole over 22.5 points. He's been absolutely crushing it in his playoff debut. 29 in Game 2, 30 in Game 1. His minutes increased even from Game 1 to Game 2. Got 30 in Game 1, 33 in Game 2. Denver just doesn't have the perimeter defense. I've been saying it all season long. We've been betting against the Denver Nuggets perimeter defense, and they just don't have it. And this onslaught of Poole, Clay, and Curry is just way too much for this Denver Nuggets offense. This was probably the worst matchup that the Denver Nuggets could have gotten the first round, really, when it comes down to it. Because who has the most talented backcourt in the entire West? You know, people are going to argue Chris Paul and Devin Booker, but when it comes down to just straight-up bucket getters, it's the Warriors. Nobody has a better backcourt than the Warriors. As pure scores, and he's going to have a lot more of that tonight. His line is still set so low at just 22.5. They have to set it like that because Curry's on the floor at the same time as him. So I still like Jordan Poole tonight over 22.5. I'm loving this play. Let's get it. With that being said, guys, let's get into our perfect 3 slip with our lock of the day of Donovan Mitchell over 29.5 points. Give me Rudy Gobert over 15.5 rebounds or 13.5 under on his points, whatever you guys want to do there. And then lastly, Jordan Poole, the Poole show over 22.5 points today versus the Denver Nuggets to round out our perfect 3 slip. And with that being said, guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. Had a fantastic day yesterday. If it really wasn't for Kyrie Irving literally having the worst game of his career as a Brooklyn Net, he would have had a pretty solid day and would have finished up yesterday with a sweep. Today, feeling really good about these games. Rudy Gobert has just been dominant on the glass versus the Mavericks. Hopefully, Luka Doncic can come back in that game. Even with the addition of Luka Doncic back into that game, I still think this game stays super competitive. The Jazz fight, even though they like to blow leads and they like to find ways to lose game, they still fight, especially with Donovan Mitchell leading that offensive charge. I'm liking Donovan Mitchell, like I've been saying, versus this Dallas Mavericks defense. Even though they have a pretty good perimeter defense, statistically, Donovan Mitchell is a hard man to stop when he gets in his bag. He's been showing that last couple of games. As well as Jordan Poole versus that Denver Nuggets defense is very lacking in perimeter defense for the Nuggets. He showed that in both of his games with almost 30 in both those games. So numbers say that these guys should absolutely crush their lines. And like I said, it's up to you guys with that Rudy Gobert. Under on points or over on rebounds. I'm probably going to lean more towards rebounds, but that under on points is looking pretty juicy too. So it's going to be up to you guys on that. Let's try to have another successful day today, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.